Hey guys, as you can tell, this is not our regular Studio One space. We are actually at the Danforth Music Hall. We got the incredible opportunity to interview the massive band Taking Back Sunday. This is to me a massive interview, massive episode. Taking Back Sunday are iconic 2000s band, iconic now, massive, important to the culture of rock. So I hope you enjoy this episode. This is Jibril Osman, your host, and this is Studio One.
Hey, this is John and Mark from Taking Back Sunday, and you're watching Studio One.
Before you guys had the band, before you guys went on tour and became the people you are, you guys were just kids who loved music. So can you talk about the bands that influenced you growing up and early life before the whirlwind of the life you guys have been embarked on?
Yeah. Well, everybody, the thing is, the reason that I think this band works and has worked is because everybody was into such different things. But there was also a middle where everybody would like these same bands, like Fugazi, The Clash.
Yeah, I think we all were into Nirvana probably at the same time, right?
The Beatles.
Yeah, we have a few that we all agree on.
But for me personally, I would say the punk rock movement was my thing. Like Minor Threat. I love Minor Threat. I like Screeching Weasel, Green Day, Rancid. But like Metallica and the Beatles are my two favorite bands.
And I know when you guys were starting out, it's the 90s. It's the way people took in music in that era is completely different from the way we took music in now. And being like playing instruments and getting people together to make music. Talk about how it was like in those early stages too, just like loving music and really like perfecting the craft and like enjoying it and still enjoying it.
Well, man, back then you still had to buy music. That was one thing. So, I remember saving up money to go to the used CD store, to get as many albums as I could afford, and that is one thing that it's really it changed a lot, obviously. But like I love that you have like all the music in the world at your disposal now on, Spotify or whatever. But there was something about that time when you're younger and it's like, well, I can only afford like 2 or 3 albums this month. So that's what you're going to be listening to. You're just like, I'm going to, even if you don't like it that much, you're like, I'm just going to keep listening to this till I like it because it's the only new music I have. So there was something about that, I think, like, back in when we were teenagers that you really sat with records and really got to know them, I think, in a way that you don't necessarily today.
Smelling them.
Yeah, that's the
smelling
of
the album.
CD and
that was a part of it. Yeah. Reading who they thanked.
Yeah, like sitting there with the liner notes and everything.
And then going out and getting that out, because if that band that you love thank this band, then they must be something good.
Yeah.
So that's a lost art. That is an art form in itself that is kind of lost. So that's
it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And when you guys came together for Taking Back Sunday and you formed the group and the team, how was it when you had your first, like, when you started having your own albums and first projects? Because, of course, like, when it comes to music, we're all fans at the end of the day, but for you guys to have your own thing and having that magic feeling of being like, this is amazing, like, this is, like, my album and project. How was it like with your first record and so on and so forth? That feeling.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like even before we recorded "Tell All Your Friends," we did a lot of demoing, and we recorded a lot of different studios on Long Island, and even then, like just the excitement of going into a real recording studio, and like even if it was just going to be like for your demo that you sold at the shows locally, like it was really exciting. And then obviously taking the step up to be recording for a label, that was, like our dream. So when we were going in to record Tell All Your Friends, it was, literally our dream come true, So it was amazing.
Yeah. I remember hearing Cute Without the E at the studio.
Yeah.
Like when all the guitars, everything was on it, it wasn't mixed yet, and I remember like specifically hearing that and thinking, wow, we're at a real studio with a real producer and, recording for a real record label. And that was cool.
And when I think about like longevity and bands and artists that have been around for so long, one of the things that I always tend to think of is like how important it is to carry that feeling still from the beginning, because I can tell that you guys still have that like inner joy and love for it.
Yeah.
So when you guys think on your career, does it seem like 20 years? Like, does that seem like real, or does it still feel like yesterday?
It's weird. I think for me, some things I think about that happened 15 years ago seem like yesterday, and then other things seem like even longer ago than 20 years. It depends what it is, like it just some of those things really stay closer in your mind, and then other things seem like another lifetime. It's weird.
Yeah.
And you guys have come to Toronto many times over the course of your career. How have you seen yourself and the city, I guess, grow and change? And on that note as well, just like the idea of touring and concerts over the years, how has it been?
It's much cooler when people come to the show from when they don't come to the show. And we've had both.
Yeah, we've gotten to see it go both ways.
Yeah. Like there was one, like the first time that we ever came to Toronto, the show was sold out, however far in advance. And then there was other times where there was like 100 people in a room that holds 2,000, where it fucking hurts,
Yeah.
That's not cool. So at this point, 20 years in, 2 sold out shows at a,
that
fairly
feels,
large venue.
Feels
it's
really
nice.
good.
It's good.
Yeah.
And you guys have done shows with massive bands, and the idea of like Warped Tour and where the genre is. How have you guys seen the progression of rock and other bands, and the idea again of longevity?
Well, I mean, it's one thing that's been kind of weird is to see like gradually like the bands that we started out with kind of like breaking up, and it's there's just like a handful of bands I feel like that we started out with that are still doing it. So that's kind of a weird thing, that you just keep going, and then other people don't so yeah, they don't last for whatever reason. And well, it's weird too. I feel like we're also we've not really been great at like keeping up with a lot of what's the new trends in the scene. Also, because when you do it so long, you see a lot of young bands come and go, and in like 2 or 3 years. So I think we've tended to not pay as much attention to like what's happening with more like up and coming bands. It's like, or we could sort of wait like 5 years or so to see how they're doing then, like, and then kind of sit with their album or something.
It would also be weird if a 38-year-old, 40-year-old man was listening to fucking
like 20-year-old
high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a little weird.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
the idea of like making merch and growing up and buying merch from other bands, how has it been to see like people from all ages wearing like your band tee and coming up to you and telling you how much the band has meant to them over the years, and new and old fans, like just the fan interaction over the years?
It's amazing. One of the craziest things I think was when we hit the point of like making like onesies for like babies, and like where our fans were getting to the point of having kids and like wanting our merch on their babies and children and stuff, and now seeing them come to shows with their kids who aren't even that young anymore. We have a lot. That's crazy.
There was a kid, we played Detroit last night, and there was a kid right in the front row. He had to be 10, 11, singing along.
Yeah, so that's
was cool.
pretty amazing. It's really surreal to see that. I don't think any of us imagined that when we were starting out.
Now, 20 years, I'm 24, so the record almost like nearly predates.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, the record, what does it mean to you now? When, like, in terms of when you released it back then and now, how special has the record in terms of the catalog you have released so on, what does it mean to you?
Every time we play it, the reaction from people is really the thing that is fun about it. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna go back and listen to it. Tell your friend, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would never do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when we play So Last Summer every night, it looks like Slayer's playing, and it's crazy, and I think that's the most fun thing about it.
Yeah, I think that is, well, when it came out, and it was fresh for us, obviously, that's a different thing emotionally than 18 years later, or whatever, looking back on it. And it's something we're still really proud of. But yeah, like Mark says, it's not like we're spending a lot of time listening to the record or thinking about the songs that much anymore. But it's the fact that people still care about it and still respond to it the way they do is it's amazing. It's really like it's hard for us to believe at this point.
Do you guys have individual moments or moments in the band where you guys have looked at each other and realized, like, this is what I'm doing for my life and this is amazing, and this is what I've envisioned when I was a teenager and I grew up listening to bands
Every day,
every day?
every day.
Yeah, that is true. I think there's always a moment, especially now, like that we're at this point and that we can be doing as well as we are. I think every day we all take a moment to try to appreciate it and think about how amazing it is.
Now, it's kind of special. Next year, not only is it a new year, it's a new decade. And ironically enough, it's 2020, and you guys are celebrating 20 years. How do you guys, if you can envision the next 20 years, or even not even that far, maybe the next step for you guys, what do you see for yourselves?
Yeah. Well, I think one reason that we got to this place is that we never really planned for it or tried to do anything to make it happen. We've kind of gone just one step at a time and just always been looking forward to the next record, and the next tour, and we've just continued to do that, and now we're here. So I mean, it kind of feels like we're going to continue in that vein right now. We're thinking about our next record now, and next year will be about getting into the studio and writing together and recording. So kind of just it's hard for us, or it's hard for me to picture what 10 years from now is going to look like.
More gray hairs?
More gray hairs, that's true. We'll maybe be moving a little bit slower on stage, but
I thought about that.
Yes.
Social Distortion is like 30 years or 40, something nuts, and they definitely don't move that much.
Yeah,
on stage.
well, it makes sense. What are they, like, in their 50s now, or like
50s?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it catches up to you, It's,
Everything hurts on me right now. Everything. Right here, my lat, it all hurts, man.
yeah.
It doesn't go away.
On that note too, how important is it, because you probably can't even count the amount of shows you guys have done over the years and festivals, how important is to stay healthy on the road and being on a tour bus and all of the different ways that you guys get to shows?
It's very important
Yeah, it
to
is.
try to eat as good as you possibly can, Drink a
Yeah.
little less,
Yeah.
smoke a little less.
Because a lot of, like, as a fan, we don't see, like, that side of an artist, and we come to the show and we see the concert and we see that
Yeah.
experience, but we don't see the back end of how hard it is to do show after show and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's better that people don't. There's a lot of very unglamorous things that go into touring for 6 weeks on a bus. So it's better that people don't see too much of that.
Yeah. But yeah, you gotta if you don't maintain, you're not gonna be playing. We're playing for 2 hours a night, so that's a lot. So
Yeah, yeah. It gets. I think as it goes, I'm realizing, like, sleeping is very important. Like when you're younger, you can get away with like getting 5 hours of sleep a night for like a month or so. And it doesn't work long term though. Like
No.
Yeah, I feel like you got to prioritize like getting a full night's rest these days, and like drinking lots of water.
Right. Staying
and,
hydrated. You gotta stay hydrated, John.
Going out for a nice meal
John.
instead of eating like pizza every day or something. Things
I've been
like that.
vegan for 3 months. You know what I mean? I
So
had
that-
to.
yeah.
Mac and cheese, it just wasn't working for me anymore.
Now, as the final note, if you could go back to 1999 and when you released the record, what's one thing you guys would individually tell yourselves if you could go back then? Just like an advice you would tell yourselves, or just something you've learned over the years that you would pass on.
Calm down. Everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. That's definitely what I would tell myself.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine. Just
You don't have to
take it
worry.
easy. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's gonna be okay.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
I know I'm only 24, but I definitely grew
Well,
up listening to a
appreciate
bunch of
that.
bands, and it's incredible to me that I even have the chance to talk to you guys. So again,
Awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Appreciate that, man.
We will release you now.
Out of
We're
this
free to
Like,
go.
baby.
out of this dungeon.
Maybe cut out the old talk a little bit. You know? Hey.
Good show.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, man. Have a good show.
Drink.
Studio One.
Hello, welcome to Studio One. If you like what you see, like and subscribe and comment. The show is brought to you by myself, Mike, and Jay.